Freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Okay, crank it up. We're going to get into this gun rights thing today. Today's a good day. Yeah, for doing that because, you know, here it comes. You're not allowed to be independent. Certainly not with a 308, you know, over your shoulder. So we've known this for a long time. L. Neil Smith made a very good argument for this, saying if you want to know what the future of the state's going to be, it's how they look at your right to be able to defend against them. Because the Second Amendment was never really about duck hunting. It was about politician hunting when the time came, you know, or defending against it at the very least. So I'm going, all right. You know, we'll go ahead and focus on this whenever it comes up. A young woman that worked for the Department of Revenue as a victim of sexual molestation from her father, turns him in, he goes to jail, she's fearful for her life, she gets concealed carry permit, she carries her firearm with her everywhere she went. She goes to work, all of a sudden 9/11 happens, they start getting all, you know, well, we got to have security, we got to have metal detectors everywhere, security, armed guards, and Department of Revenue, all the buildings. My wife goes down there, so we kind of got involved because my wife, being a real estate agent, she carried her own firearm with her wherever she went. Now that's, you know, bleep, you know, you got to check it. Well, the law was very simple. It says you must check your firearm when requested. Okay, I check it. Here you go. I'm in a government building. I check it. I go along my merry way. Then they came up and they're going, oh, they didn't like that. You know, regardless of what the law, we're just not checking them anymore. You got to go over a half a mile over to the state Capitol over here, find the state police, have them check it, then you can come back over here and do it. It was just a game in violation of the law. Well, I understood from my other lawsuits with the state of Arizona on some other issues is that it is called the Rule 4. And what it was is you could go straight to the Supreme Court if the law required government to do something that they weren't doing or prevented them from doing something that they were. So I go, they are required by law to check the firearm. They're not doing it. We file a lawsuit. So I wanted to go ahead and I talked to the attorney that represented the Department of Revenue. We went down there. I met, you know, I had an email exchange with Mark Killian, the director, which was a former Speaker of the House. He knew me to be a man of my word. You know, if I was going to do this, man, I was going to do it. So I go, look, do you really want to go down this road? You have no idea what you're dealing with. Now, this is, you know, in 2002, this is before the love evolution, but we already had a lot of these skills. We had our own printing press and so on. We're still being butt heads back then, even before mass production of DVDs. Well, I've really been a pain in the butt. So I go, Mark, I don't think you really understand what you're going up against. I mean, these guys will get creative. This is the gunny people. I mean, you know, you think it's just me. It's not. I just, you know, FYI, you know, we do the Billy Jack thing. I'm going to take the right side of my foot, put it against the right side of your head, and there's nothing you can do about it. You ready? Ready? Here we go. So they said, nope, met with the attorney. Nope, we're not going to bend. Okay. All right, here we go. So I put out an email to the gun community, and so I said, let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to go down to the Arizona Department of Revenue with my firearm. I had Mark Victor as my attorney, and he was, you know, educating me on the law. We go down there, and I said, you know, come see Ernie get arrested. Ooh, they had a crowd. There was like 60, 70 people there with guitars, guns, and cash for my bail. They were ready. Ernie was going to get arrested. Well, what we found out later, there was all these state police cars all around and everything, and you couldn't see any of them. But when I went into the lobby, you see them start peeking out from the walls there. I mean, they had an army, man. They're going to make a show of it because they had all the media there. You had television cameras and the newspaper reporters and cameras flashing and all that kind of stuff. And I gave a speech, you know, on the front steps. And I go, you know, if you don't have a government number, all of you here with guns, guitars, money, singing, having a good time, giving speeches, none of this will be in the press tomorrow. I guarantee it, unless there's a government number. And that will take the form of an arrest, you know, me filing a lawsuit, something. Mark Victor spoke and he said, you know, let me tell you what the problem is here. If you go in and you refuse to surrender your firearm, it'll be a misdemeanor, you know, whatever you didn't in this law and says and whatever. But if you get charged with disorderly conduct and you have a firearm, it'll word it like this: disorderly conduct with a firearm, felony. Felony. Even if you don't even touch it, bring it out, you have to adjudicate that in court. They're going to get them some Ernie. They were salivating. They're going to get us some Ernie. So I go in and I go, I wish to check my firearm. No, and the security guard, he's been, nice to my wife and me, and he knows, and he just don't want to. In fact, we helped him because he would ride. He was a poor individual, and he rode the city buses from where he lived in Tempe to get to work. Well, they passed legislation saying that, you can't bring your firearm on the bus. Well, he's like, I can't go to work. I have to have a firearm. So we worked out, we got all kinds of activists and everything, helped him, got him taken care of. So he's on our side anyway, so he wants to keep his job. He's like, hey man, I can't take it. Okay, you sure? And you kind of lean forward like you're going to walk around it, and then all of a sudden these state police guys start peeking out from behind the walls. Yeah, I knew you guys were there. I knew you were there. So we go, okay, turn around, walked out. What they didn't realize is that we knew what they were going to do, but it gave me standing. They refused, on record, lots of witnesses, videotape, cameras of them violating the law. So I go out and I said, yep, they violated. You watch what happens. You have to have your government number. The next day, this is a Thursday, I think, middle of the week. The next day, not a word. Bunch of guys with guns and guitars and signs right out in front of the Arizona Department of Revenue. Not a word. All the media was there because they didn't have the government number. So we prepared over the weekend our lawsuit. We knew how to do it. I knew how to file it, and we wanted to get all kinds of goodies in there. So we had a lot of the guys did a lot of research, and we took that and we wanted to make it part of the court record so it would be of use to other attorneys that were advocating for rights, that were holding even retailers civilly responsible for the damage caused their customers because they disarmed them and they couldn't come, and to their mall, they couldn't even park, or the city and municipal buildings couldn't have, and there were people getting raped, molested, and beat up and whatever, and the rest stops on the highways and so on. This was a big issue at the time too that we got taken care of and so on. So we were making all of this and having all the research of what the law was, the history, all the precedents. We wanted to incorporate that into the lawsuit so it was a reference. Well, we put that all up on Freedom's Phoenix. You go to Freedom's Phoenix, it's up at the top of our special edition safe. Second Amendment is for everyone. You see the special edition, gun rights, and I think I put it up on the top of the main page too. So this information we accumulated and put it all there, and this is what happened. I go, you watch what happens. $200 I'm going to spend to file this, and you watch the explosion because I get the government number. The following Tuesday, we were all ready, had it all done, go into the Supreme Court building. They tried to stop us from filing it. Well, you didn't, and you got it. Hey, you want another lawsuit on whether I get to file it or not? Because petition your government for redress of grievance, that's lawsuits. You're going to take away my First Amendment? We can do it again. We're going to be here all day, for a long time. So finally, they allowed me to file it. I called the press and said, here's the number. They called the Supreme Court to confirm that, yes, we filed it. Boom. Within a couple of days, New York Times article. It was printed in Japanese. I'll tell you what happened when we come back here on Declare Your Independence.